I'm Caden Love.
And I'm Seema Love, his wife.
And we are Love and Lore, taking dark fantasy, light fantasy, and everything in between. With the holiday season now underway, I figured why not recommend one of the best things to gift someone, and that being books. To help give you some ideas on which books you should gift your friends and family, we've assembled a little list that you can refer to, and we'll start off with something pretty popular, especially among the youth, and that is Minecraft. So if you're big into Minecraft or you grew up playing it, a big popular genre is now lit RPG, and this one has touches of lit RPG, but honestly, when I read it, I just remembered how much I loved farming in Minecraft, how much I loved going and building, growing things, and that is going to be Battle Mage Farmer by Seth Ring. This was my most recent audiobook listen. Super fun. It's one of those books that at the end, I just kind of look back and I'm like, why did I enjoy that so much? It follows a man, a former battlefield mage, that goes and retires on a farm, and he helps defend it there while learning to grow crops and cultivate this farm. It's one of those books that you just really enjoy, but you can't really put your finger on why. And in my opinion, if you are one of those Minecraft players or someone that liked farming in that kind of sense, you will absolutely adore this book. So much fun, and it is great on audio. It is performed by Michael Kramer, who does all of Brandon Sanderson's books, or I guess most of them, for the male voices.
If you have someone in your family or friend group that loves Ghibli movies like Spirited Away, Housemaid Castle, or anything like that, we have a recommendation for you. A local author in our area came out with a book, and everyone loves it, and everyone says that it has Ghibli vibes, and it is Doll Makers. Kaden actually started this book. What do you think?
Yeah, it is so wonderful, and as you can see on the cover, it has a little blurb from Brandon Sanderson. This is from a Brandon Sanderson protege, and it is very apparent there. Beautiful world building. What we have is a world where doll makers create these living dolls to protect people from things called the Shad, which are these big invading forces. You don't know too much about them at the beginning, but you learn as you go throughout. It's one of those that has little bits of creepiness like Spirited Away, but it's also very comforting. And when you see that the author was inspired by Studio Ghibli movies, you recognize it immediately. It is so much fun, wonderful, and I feel like it can appeal to any audience. Next, we are going to go to fans of Avatar: The Last Airbender, very much so in that tone, or honestly any fans of shonen manga or anime, Jujutsu Kaisen, My Hero Academia. If you like progression, you need to get on this progression fantasy. That is Will White's Cradle series, starting with Unsouled. This has an awesome magic system that will remind you a lot of training like Aang did, and it just follows a young man early on, but we get to see him grow, and I've read the first 3 books, loved them so much, and I'm so excited to continue. This is a self-published book, but this series is probably one of the biggest self-published series out there. I really am excited to continue reading it, and if you choose to do audio, it is narrated by Travis Baldree, who did Legends and Lattes.
Okay, something different. If you know someone who really enjoys watching The Bachelor or Bachelorette or that kind of reality TV, I think that person will really like the Selection series. This book is mostly for girls, I think. It's a little bit dystopian, but mostly it focuses on this prince choosing his future wife from all these women who are invited to stay with him at the castle. And even though I had my complaints, it's not perfect, and it has a little moments when the relationships are a little bit unhealthy. But I enjoyed it, and I think whoever watches Bachelor will love this.
Okay, if you want a really good family-friendly book, I'm talking about people that you would give The Hobbit, somebody that wants classic fantasy. Maybe you have 12, 16, 18-year-old, 80-year-old, someone that just wants wholesome fantasy. Stone and Sky by Z.S. Diamani. This is in the lines of like World of Warcraft. It has everything that you could ask for in classic fantasy. It is wholesome, funny, enjoyable, and it is a completed trilogy. So this is the first book, and it is just so great, and I highly recommend checking it out if you're just looking for a book that is general classic fantasy that can honestly appeal to any audience, young, old, everyone's going to enjoy this book.
So if you're looking for a gift for someone who enjoys reading books before watching the movies, we have a couple of books for you that are getting adaptations in the next couple years. And first of all, Piranesi. I loved that book, and it is something else. It's not like anything I've read before, and the adaptation is being made by the Leica studio. So I'm super excited, and I think this is going to be for every audience.
Yeah, this is one that is just really great. It has bits of mystery, kind of coziness, weird. It is super good, and it's not too long of a read. Alternatively, if you want something that is pretty complex, maybe you've got fans of the cyberpunk genre, Neuromancer is the pretty much foundation of cyberpunk. This was written before virtual reality was a thing, but it uses it in such an interesting way, and Apple TV is getting an adaptation of Neuromancer by William Gibson. I'm really interested to see how they do it. I loved this book, and it's one of those that I'm kind of hesitant to see how they'll translate it, but if you have someone that likes to read things before they get too big, definitely give them Neuromancer if they're a sci-fi fan. Alright, especially with Wind and Truth coming out this year, Brandon Sanderson is on everyone's Christmas list for fantasy. So, might I recommend Elegy of a Fragmented Vineyard, written by this guy right here. Elegy of a Fragmented Vineyard is the first in the Paladins of the Harvest series. It is very much inspired by Brandon Sanderson's work. Elegant world building, or so I've been told. I put a really great magic system in here that I think is pretty unique. And book 2 is coming out early next year, so if you want to get ready, definitely check this off on your list.
If you know someone that grew up reading Hunger Games, Maze Runner, and other dystopian books that everyone around read, here are a couple of dystopian books that they have to check out. Okay, if that person is more into romance and probably enjoys something entertaining and soft, Lunar Chronicles, please give them Cinder. I love the series, and it's just one of my favorite books ever.
And then if they want something a little harder, but it has amazing character work, and this is going to take your heart, rip it out, and chuck it all over the room, the Red Rising series by Pierce Brown is one of the biggest and hottest book series right now, and soon we will be getting Red God, the last book in the series. So if you want to jump on that hype train now, before the inevitable adaptation, definitely check out Red Rising. The first book has a lot of tones that feel like a sci-fi Hunger Games, but it quickly takes a turn for the epic as the series goes on. I can't recommend it enough. Dungeons & Dragons has become so popular, a lot of it thanks to Stranger Things, and more recently, Baldur's Gate 3 has brought a lot of attention to these worlds. So if you want one that is inspired by an actual Dungeons & Dragons campaign, check out Spark of the Divine by Louise Holland. This is an epic story that will satiate your needs if you want some pure D&D adventure, great group and family bonding with all that you could ask for in a campaign. Lastly, if you have an aspiring writer in the family, maybe they've seen Brandon Sanderson's lectures and they're trying to really fall in love with writing, I highly recommend On Writing by Stephen King. There are so many books out there that can tell you how to write, how to work on plot, character, all of these things. But what I love about this one is it is more of a memoir of the craft, as it says in the title. On Writing helps you fall in love with writing, and especially for someone like me that read it a little bit later after I started writing, it helped me fall in love with writing all over again. You see why it helps you breathe as an author. He talks about, of course, things to improve your writing, but more so how to just really enjoy it, how to let yourself be freed by writing and not worry too much about the constraints and rules. This book will really free those writers that worry too much about the quality of their work. This will get them going and help them start their career by one of the most renowned authors out there.
So with the gift giving season coming up, we really recommend giving some of these books to your friends. And if you have other suggestions for other tastes, share them in the comments, and let's give each other some books this season. Thank you for watching.